Hello and welcome back to another installment of Fodder, where we have buffs and buffs and buffs and more buffs coming to Pokemon Duel with the next update. The first thing that I'm going to do though is I'm going to crack open this 12-hour booster. Probably not going to get anything great out of it. We've got an Executor, Eradicate, an Ingot common, and a rare metal uncommon. So nothing really to see here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up breaking this video up into two different videos because there's just that many buffs of older figures and we don't even know what's going to come out. I will say we do know that Regice, and that may not be how you say it, it may be Regice, but we're going to call him Regice. And we also have what I believe to be the fastest buff ever in Pokemon Duel. The first thing is we need to know when is all of this happening, and it will happen July 2nd from 2 to 6 UTC. They will be shutting down the servers so that they can release version 6.0.11 with the following bug fixes. And here's the funny thing about this is they're going to fix these bugs and there's going to be different bugs. It is what it is. I don't remember the last time they released a new version that wasn't bugged. So, there you go. Metal Sphere and Energy Plates. The Metal Sphere and Steel Energy Plates, plate effects, God, that's hard to say, were not being reflected for Icicle Sphere. Okay. Metal Coat Plate. If a player used Metal Coat to evolve, their dual opponent would be unable to take any actions and an error would occur. It's true. Paralysis, burned. These status conditions are being adjusted such that when an attack is changed to a different attack by effects such as form abilities, the effects of paralysis and burned that turns an attack to a miss triggers after the attack changing effect. I think what that means is if you're supposed to burn them, you're going to burn them. And if you're supposed to paralyze them, you will paralyze them. And I guess that's not happening somewhere along the way. I do know that when Poliwrath attacks, maybe it depends on who attacks whom, but in the interaction of Poliwrath versus Houndour, or Houndoom, which one's Houndour is the uncommon version, they both get burned, and I'm not sure if it matters who attacks in that sequence. So maybe that's adjusting for that. But here we go. And like I said, I'm probably just going to run down all of them real quick and just not go into detail. And then I'm going to pick a few of them and we'll go into detail on them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to record the audio portion of this now and read it. But then, so you're not just watching a video of me reading, I will take the figures that I'm talking about, I will throw them in a deck, and then I will slap that deck on top of the gameplay. And then you can watch that go on while I'm talking here. I'll try something a little different. To rebalance dueling, we are making adjustments to the skill types, effects, damage values, piece ranges, and MP of select figures. These adjustments are based on duel results, the number of figures in use, and customer feedback. Well, it sounds like they're taking customer feedback, and here's my customer feedback. Figure out a way to protect people's accounts. Because, and I can't let this go. Because people have put money into this game, and A, there's bugs all the time, which they've already said, hey, we're not responsible for bugs. Okay, I can deal with that. But for you guys to have no account security, and I keep harping on it, but like it really bothers me. And in fact, it is the single biggest flaw in this game. Anyway, we're gonna make an announcement. Blah 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 blah. You know, if you do have a figure that gets rebalanced, then you need to go reallocate the wheels, and that tells you how to do it. So the first thing we have is Black Kyurem and White Kyurem are changed from having 2 MP to 3 MP, and good Lord. Like, I will tell you right now, I'm not happy about that change at all. Because you think Coco is hard to knock out. We're about to have Coco that can obliterate your team because they're going to hit like Mack trucks, and they're going to have the ability to banish you. This this change right here, and I can't show you gameplay of black or white Kyurem because I don't have black nor white Kyurem, but if my thought is correct on this, they are 100% totally worth crafting, because that is an absolutely ridiculously broken figure at this point. You can, man, just on paper, I am scared to death of the Kyurems. Black Kyurem and white Kyurem are powerful figures. Yes, they are, actually. They can exclude a battle opponent from the duel and can ignore entry blockades due to their flying capabilities. However, there's a drawback. When Black Kyurem or White Kyurem appears, Zekrom or Reshiram is temporarily excluded from the duel. We've changed Black Kyurem and White Kyurem to have 3 MP, which far surpasses this drawback, and I 100% agree with what they said there at the end. I don't know, man. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know how you stop this, because here is the problem that I see initially. You bring out your Kyurem, you do your DNA fusion, you 3MP it to the entry point. If it gets hit and if it gets attacked, and obviously probably anybody who's running this is going to be running Zoro as well. So you attack, they switch out to Zoro, and you have this 3MP figure that can just fly over the entry point to come back onto the board, man. Oh my gosh. And then it's going to go down. You finally get say you land a gold attack. Say you have this new Mega Rayquaza. You actually get it on the board. It attacks Kyurem. The black or white Kyurem knocks it out. That's awesome. Oh, but wait. Your opponent is going to get their figure back. They're either Reshiram or Zekrom back. And their Kyurem is still going to be sitting on your entry point. I am scared to death of these decks. Man. I'm scared. I'm going to say it right now. I think this is 100% broken. I'm going to give it, until it comes out, the benefit of the doubt until I see this. But, oh, sweet baby Jesus, this could be ugly. This could be really ugly. Regirock. Change the effect of the lock-on blue ability. Changed Multi-Blast 90 to Multi-Blast 100. And here we go, folks. The fastest buff ever in Pokemon Duel history. Registeel. It is, when I'm recording this, it is June 29th. I'm almost positive that Registeel came out in the month of June, and it's already getting a buff. Why not just make it right the first time instead of having to change this? Change the effect of the lock-on gold ability. Change Multi-Blast 90 to Multi-Blast 110. The lock-on systems of EX Regirock and EX Registeel have been upgraded to higher functioning versions. Rather than specifying one Pokemon within 2 steps of these new lock-on systems, on activation, cause all opposing Pokemon within 2 steps to spin to determine the success or failure of lock-on. I'm cool with that. That's okay. In addition, lock-on has been improved so it stays functional even if Regirock or Registeel is affected by a special condition. This improved version of lock-on systems has already been implemented for Regice, which is scheduled to appear in the next update. I don't know, man. This figure hasn't even been out a month yet, and it's already getting a buff. So there you go. I do like the change on it of the lock-ons. I think that makes Regi decks viable. I don't really think people use Regirock or Registeel all that often. We're gonna go on to Dialga, change number 243 for Dialga. Change the effect of the time distortion ability. Change Roar of Time 130 to Roar of Time 140. Changed Dragon Claw 70 to Dragon Claw 100. They also changed Palkia. Changed the effect of Space Distortion ability. Changed Special Rand from 120 to 130. Changed Dragon Claw from 70 to Dragon Claw 100. Dragon Claw and Palkia have been extremely difficult figures to utilize due to their abilities. Like, is that even a newsflash to anybody? Nobody uses them because they are an absolute liability. The fact that they have to stay on the bench and be the last ones off. Now Dialga and Palkia are not knocked out in battle, but moved to the bench instead. Okay. Okay, and they're going to give a couple examples here. Although they remain strategically advanced figures, and by strategically advanced, they mean that nobody in the game has figured out a way to use them. That's strategically advanced. We believe effective uses will be discovered for them, such as a combination of EX Palkia and Tapu Fini, removal of spheres using Dialga's Roar of Time attack, or in Ultra Beast decks that by their nature do not rely on revival from the PC. And I agree with that. That is true. If you want to run them in an Ultra Beast deck, then the fact that they don't go to the PC is actually pretty beneficial when you think about Ultra Beast, Nihilego going off to Ultra Space, Celesteela going off to Ultra Space instead of to the PC. I can see where that would be helpful. And the Palkia and Tapu Fini is, I've never thought of that. There could be a deck build with that. Note that Pokemon that defeat Dialga or Palkia in battle can still evolve, even though Dialga and Palkia are not knocked out. Giratina changed Shadow Claw 30 to Shadow Claw 150, Hex 50 to Hex 70. When we were adjusting Dialga and Palkia, we decided to buff Giratina, which also doesn't have a high usage rate. I'm going to say it has a 0 usage rate, and this will be like the third buff. And finally, we're going to go with Zygarde. 50% form, change Dragon Breath 110 to Dragon Breath 130, change Landwrath 70 to Landwrath 90, change Extreme Speed 50 to Extreme Speed 70. Although Zygarde has a destructive Landwrath attack that affects the whole field, it seems that a powerful deck centered around Zygarde has yet to be unearthed. And I'm going to, developers, if you're listening, I'm going to tell you why. A, it's 1 MP. B, it has a 70 attack for a 1 MP figure, which is honestly, it's a liability. I've kind of said, and we'll go, hold on, let me finish this real quick. Its complete form won't appear for a while, so for now we've buffed its damage. We've buffed the damage of its 50% forms attacks by 20 each. I've said this before. If you're going to put out a 1 MP figure, and they're obviously going to put out 1 MP figures, they need to be strong. And I'm not talking like 130 and 90. That is not strong. That's garbage in this meta. Tapu Koko beats everything on this wheel except for the 130. And that's it. That's the only attack on Zygarde's 1 MP wheel that Tapu Koko cannot beat. And so if you're wanting to come up with 1 MP figures, I personally, and this is my personal opinion, I think Celesteela is a perfect 1 MP figure. Both of its physical attacks hit really hard. One of them is it's a 130 something, and the other is a 10 something, but gets a plus 30 damage buff if your opponent has more MP than it. It also has a displacement purple, which is fly, so it can move. And then the blue is the blue, and it's super strong as far as that goes. But that is a really good 1 MP figure. You need 1 MP figures that most likely aren't going to lose to a 3 MP figure. 1 MP figures should just be tanks. And the trade-off for being 1 MP is that they're really hard to knock out, and they can move down the board and one space at a time slowly and wreck the opponents in front of them, especially weaker figures that are runners. But now they've made a runner out of Black Kyurem and White Kyurem, which are going to hit harder than the Zygarde. And if we're talking about Zygarde has a destructive Land's Wrath, which affects the entire field, let's talk about White Kyurem's Draco Meteor, which affects the entire field. And in fact, and it doesn't, but you get to pick and choose which figure you want to. So to me, that's more destructive because I can pick and choose and say, hey, you, Solgaleo, with your all-white wheel, with all of your attacks being over 70, and the only other wheel slice you have is a miss, that's an automatic knockout. That is the difference between a 1 MP and a 3 MP. Why would anybody use this 1 MP figure when they could use that 3 MP figure? So there you go. That is going to cover the first, just half. Like that is just the first half of the buffs. We'll get into the dragons in another video, maybe over the weekend, probably on Monday. But let me know in the comments below of the buffs that I mentioned, which I think for the most part they're good. I still don't think anybody's going to use these 1 MP. Giratina, I can see people using Giratina. I think people are going to abuse the Black and White Kyurem. The Palkia and Dialga, I don't know, man. Don't know about those. Giratina, maybe. And then Zygarde, I think Zygarde's just going to be laid out to rest in an open field somewhere. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. I do like the buffs. I like the fact that they are doing mass buffs on older figures. I like that. I feel like it's something that should have been happening slowly, but I like that they're actually eventually getting to it, and they're doing it in groups. So that's nice. Have a great weekend. Next week is 4th of July, and I'm telling you right now, there will be no video on the 4th of July. I'm telling you guys now. So if you are in the States, have a safe and happy 4th of July next week. Until then, have a safe and happy weekend. And until next time.